I've been ready from the jump. I've been ready from the jump. Tell me anything but never tell me that I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm on. You can bet I've been above. You can never see me like I'm John. Seen it with a song. Yeah, we kicking in the whip, boy, then boom, boom. Invisible like Bitcoin, but all around we taking over the world. I'm making home with the girl, head to tail like a flip coin. You can take it how you want. I've been up having fun. Yeah, baby, this ain't a disjoint. I ain't famous, I'm a boss. I've been up stacking sauce. Do you share the hit, boy?
What's up, everybody? This is the Kent Farm Podcast. My name is Clue. I'm here with John. How are you doing, my dude?
Fantastic, Clue. I'm going well.
That's the way. That's the
Zach's
way.
in the house already.
Oh, Zach's
Zach.
here every week. Appreciate you, Zach. You absolute legend. Jumping in
The
straight
real
away.
heroes.
Absolutely. Oh,
what do you
it
got
gives
there?
us a reason.
You got cheeky beer tonight, or?
Oh, no. I'm off the beers. This is a sparkling water.
Yeah, just got the plane to got a H2O stream tonight.
Ooh. Yeah, at least mine's got some natural flavors in it. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm liking the green shirt there.
Thank you, sir. I figure with all this Green Lantern news going on.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? Cristiano, how are you, my dude? Thanks for jumping in. Oh, it's Roddy. Yeah,
It's Roddy.
Where have you been?
I was like, oh, okay, Roddy. Yeah, good.
Where have you been? Let us know what's been going on. Yeah.
I should have brought my A game. Now I'm a little bit rattled. We got more than one or two people live.
That's exactly right. All right. Well, let's just jump straight into it. We've been chatting all week. Invincible on Amazon Prime. Now we're going to go over a few things. I'd like to point out that the title of this says that we are featuring Enosh from Poindexter Lounge. He was going to jump in. It's like 5:30 in the morning where he is, and he hasn't slept yet. So we called it. I just said to him, let's delay it if he wants, so he can get some sleep. Let's do it next week. So no Enosh tonight, but we will have him next week. Fingers crossed. We've got a couple of other guests coming up, which we're pretty excited about. I was actually watching an episode of Sons of Anarchy last night that one particular guest appeared on, which I thought was cool. And my best mate, Sons of Anarchy, is his favorite show. So I was like, took a photo. I was like, this guy is going to be on my podcast in a couple of weeks. And texted it to him, and he was like, that's dope. I remember exactly who that guy is. So anyway,
I remember seeing
that
episode because we were watching it. We just at the end of the season where they're in Belfast, and my wife sort of lost a little bit of interest. Yeah, so we'll see. But I did get a glimpse of one Ray Porter floating around. Yeah. So it was great.
Right. That's right.
Otherwise known as Darkseid, but hey, I'm sure there's some Sons of Anarchy. I'm not too sure if he had a character name or if he's Thug One or
Head Red was his name.
Yeah,
Head Red. It's the same. For me, my first time seeing him was on Lost. At the end of Lost, they had this like 13 minutes. So it was like a quarter episode epilogue that explained one thing that the series didn't necessarily tie into the finale. And he was part of that, which was really cool. So I remember, as soon as I really saw who he was,
I really want to do dope. Lost, but it's such a big investment.
It's what it feels like that because, but I mean, I think any show from that era has like a lot of seasons with like 24 episodes, but Lost had an average of. It was like 24 or 25 episodes technically because it was a 3-part finale for the first season. Then 24, then 23. And then season 4 was 14. Season 5 was 16. And then they did 18 for the last season because it was a 2-part like major finale as well. Yeah. So it was like the last 3 seasons, they did like 16 hours per season, but then they took 2 from 4. And so it's definitely...
It's one of those things, There's a lot of people, it's either Lost, you either love it or you hate it. There's very rarely do I...
It's my favorite show of all time.
It was all right. Yeah. Well, Marty loves it too, so I'm.
I think there's a lot
of
Lost crossover in the SnyderVerse fan base, which I've started to notice, which I thought was really interesting. Ronnie here saying Lost is so worth it, bro. Do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that watched the first season because it was so iconic and then tuned into the last episode and they were disappointed.
Is it on? What streaming service is it on in Australia? Is it Netflix?
I think it's
Foxtel.
Disney Plus now.
Okay, right.
They just bought ABC, so
yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite show of all time. If I could recommend anything to anyone, Lost would be the way to go. Like, for me, I was actually considering doing a rewatch podcast with a friend of mine who has seen it once entirely through when it aired, and one of my friends who's never seen it. But it was just going to be the guy who's never seen it does like 3 podcasts already, so it's just going to be too hard. Yeah. But I just wanted an excuse to rewatch it. So maybe I'll just
Lost by the minute.
Yeah. That would be a commitment.
To be there for us. Yeah. Oh, I could only imagine.
Lost by the episode.
Obviously, the watching of the show. Yeah. Oh well, I'll put it on the to-do list, which is growing by the day.
I put it high up on the to-do list. I would very much recommend. It's
what?
Watch the 2-part pilot, and if it hasn't grabbed you by then, I would be very surprised.
Yeah. Well, I'm in that sort of moment now where I've stopped watching the CW shows. Well, I mean, even when I was on them, it was really only Flash, Arrow, and sort of the OGs leading to Crisis. Superman and Lois is on a break. We've got in between drinks for The Walking Dead. And speaking of another show that's waiting for a season 2 to start up is old Invincible. So
I guess
I do have a little bit.
So you got time. Well, everyone's heard it here. John is going to fill us in next week. He's binged the entire series, and it's his favorite show now.
if I started watching it now, is there enough time in 1 week to have the whole season, to have this whole series?
I think it's 110 or 112 episodes at 40 minutes apiece. I don't want to do the maths on that, but
not to say I'm going to lock myself into something like that, but
I reckon you could, but you'd have to give up sleep, and you'd have to give up work, and you'd have to give up family. Like,
it's just that if he dies, he dies.
Yeah, exactly. You would get lost in Lost. You'd have to make it through the week. That actually just reminds me of when I'd heard about Breaking Bad and I'd never seen it, but I knew that if the season finale aired or the series finale aired before I saw it, I'd see a spoiler, and I'd always intended on watching it. So I was like, oh, screw it. And it was like 14 days until the finale aired, and I was still working, but I was like, screw it. So I watched the entire series, and literally like 40 minutes before the series finale aired, I watched the second last episode. I managed to do it in 14 days.
In preparation to Man of Steel, I think I took the year of 2012 to watch all of Smallville. Just because I never watched it when it was sort of airing, and I was just sort of buying the DVDs. And then like it was like, I think the day of going to Man of Steel, I finished the last maybe 3 episodes. I pretty much had to pump the majority of season, was it 11 or something? Into like
10.
the last.
It was 10, and then they did a 11 comic book series, which is great. Yeah.
So I feel like I need to go back and revisit the last 2 seasons, because maybe I wasn't taking it as much. I was just rushing to get to Man of Steel.
Like, okay,
even though like there was no real point because they were totally different stories. But I was just like,
but it's still cool
me with Superman.
This is like I remember a friend of mine. She said she didn't really like Man of Steel because her favorite type of her favorite stories is Clark on the Farm, and I was like, they just finished 10 years of that, and she's like, what are you talking about? And I gave her the Smallville DVDs, and she was like, oh, this is the best thing that I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I mean, I was like, because I wasn't really religiously into like this sort of stuff, sort of going through the back end of primary school. I just sort of fell out of sort of comics and more into sport. And I think about 3 or 4 seasons in, my best mate was like, Smallville's about Superman, right?
Superman,
I was
right?
like, what? So
I
yeah,
still,
and then
to this day, remember this one specific episode, the way that Channel 10 promoted it. I have this like one episode that I still can remember the exact cadence of the woman's voice that used to do the Channel 10 ads promoting this one episode of Smallville. And it's still like, I was thinking about it like 2 weeks ago going, man, like, why is that still in my head? It was like 15 years ago.
What episode was it? What episode was it?
The one where Lois goes undercover at the strip club and Clark goes in and they spot each other there. And then she gets taken away in the helicopter and he like runs up the top and grabs the stand of the helicopter and pulls it down. Because he was
I'm sure it's the Channel 10 ad that got that reminds you of
that. That's it. And then the Channel 10 ad was just like 007? No. 00 Superman. And I was just like, this is so bad because he was in the suit.
Oh god, yeah.
Smallville hasn't aged well, in my opinion, Zach. You know what? I watched it a couple of years ago. Yeah, I loved it. I loved it back then. I'd love to watch it again. I haven't watched it like a couple of months after I'd last watched it. The Allison Mack stuff came out, and I haven't seen it since.
Yeah.
One of my friends said, you think about it for the first like 2 episodes, and then after that, you're just like, she's Chloe.
Yeah. I haven't really sort of put it. What was the name of the chick that played Lois again? I should probably know this because
Erica Durance.
She was like,
yeah.
She was like my,
perfect.
Penultimate Lois. Once upon a time. So arguably could still be.
Erica Durance. She was just fantastic as Lois. All right, well. We've got a bit to chat on tonight, and we want to do a little bit on the first season of Invincible before we start talking on some of the stuff that's happening over at Warner Brothers, or not happening, rather. But let's chat Invincible. I guess.
Ash is gone. No,
Ash has just jumped in. He's going, all right, yeah, I'm here. You guys have chatted. So, let's chat Invincible. So, for starters, I wasn't familiar with the comic at all. I just knew that it was, an animated series coming out with this phenomenal voice cast, and thought I'd jump in on it. Where did you stand with it?
Yeah, I was the same. Like, I watched the first episode not knowing anything. I just saw a lot of people talking about it, and maybe it took me about sort of 3 weeks before I thought I'd give it a go, and everyone was sort of raving on about it, and put the first episode on, and you're thinking, oh yeah, who's voicing this person again? And I'm a big Lauren Cohen fan, and it's like, oh, how good's this? And
wait, who did Lauren Cohen voice?
Was it War Woman or the?
Of course,
the Wonder Woman knockoff.
Yep.
So I think I was the same as everyone else, where you're watching it, you're going, oh yeah, it looks like another standard take on a sort of DC.
Like it was the thing. Justice League, yeah.
And then I think I told the story before on this, was just sort of sitting with my 2-year-old, just watching a cartoon, and then the last scene or the after credit scene or whatever. But so it was just like, wait, what? And I was like, almost getting like, Game of Thrones Red Wedding vibes going. I've only been with these guys for like 45 minutes.
Second, exactly.
Yeah, because they sort of did a little bit of a dive into each character. They were going in that trajectory, going, oh, this is your Guardians of the Globe, and even the Flash type character that runs fast, how he's on his date, and then just out of nowhere, I was like, well, yeah, now I'm really intrigued, and then it was just basically binging it.
I mean, I think for that particularly that first episode was sort of hard for me to establish, Omni-Man as not necessarily part of the Guardians of the Globe. He wasn't one of them. He was just a guy who was sort of around as well. So obviously that sort of, you fell into it. I loved that Mark Hamill was the guy who made all the outfits,
the suits.
I love that Gillian Jacobs and Zazie Beetz are the females, Adam Eve and Amber, I think her name is. Yeah, I think it's a great cast. Having watched the entire series, the only Jason Mantzoukas as Rexplode. I think that was actually how I heard about the show. I was listening to the Zack Snyder's Justice League episode of How Did This Get Made, which is Jason Mantzoukas and Paul Shears and June Day and Raphael's podcast, where they talked about it. And look, they did not like Man of Steel or BVS, but loved Shazam and Birds of Prey. But they loved Zack Snyder's Justice League, so that was cool. And then they were talking at the end about Invincible, and I'd heard of it and then realized he was in it, looked up the cast. But yeah, I think the only episode that I didn't love throughout the season, or that didn't really grab me, and I think I just lost sort of where I was going, was the Mars episode.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they sort of built that up as more of a world building.
Yeah.
Eventually, because they sort of one of the astronauts got infected or whatnot, and I was just trying to figure out, did he go back to Earth? Because then at the end of the last episode, he was back there, or I probably do need to do a bit of a rewatch, but it's one of those. Talking about.
But that was the only episode, and then sort of towards the end, we'll go into a quick couple of minutes spoilers about sort of the end of the series. Obviously, for me, I don't know about him being called Invincible, considering he gets fucked up like every episode. The one where that bloke from like the bounty hunter or whatever, and he was like dealing with the robot head,
the Sphinx looking dude or whatever,
who like smashed him in the chest with a hammer. And then he's getting the shit kicked out of him in the last episode as well. It's just like,
but maybe season one is like the the origins of what is to become Invincible. So I mean, you got Man of Steel. So what I really liked is obviously it has a lot of similarities to the DC one, but I'm looking at it when they go into the backstory of the Viltrumites and all that, and I'm like, oh, this is sort of like if Goku didn't hit his head, he probably would have just taken over the joint to begin with. But it's like I like the idea of like, it wasn't just an element of Superman gone bad. Like it was a little bit different, and I really liked it about the show that they didn't just sort of fuck around. They got to the point normally pretty quickly. And all that. Like, I guess there was an element of that when Mark's sort of hiding his identity to his girlfriend, but like obviously they established that in the back end of the series that she kind of knew. So that'll be good. So in season 2, they're still not going to be exploring, I've got to hide this, because I'm really sick of that when it comes to superhero stuff, the hiding of the identity. And I just find it's just been done, and which is sort of a little bit off topic why I liked the TV show Ozark. Spoilers, but like, the first sort of, have you seen it, Ozark?
I've only seen the first season. So
well, it's like in that like very early on, they established that the whole family knows that he's washing money. You don't spend a whole season doing the hiding thing, which I just So that was pretty good, and that last episode. Like, I think I probably lost like 3 kilos of sweat.
Have you seen? Have you read any further than where we've seen up to in the?
No, but I'm actually intrigued, but I'm in two minds. Like, do I just wait for the show and keep being pleasantly surprised, or do I delve into the comics?
Well, I've heard a few things like that. Omni-Man is basically nothing compared to some of the other Viltrumites that we're going to see. That him in terms of power is, like weak as. The other thing that I'd like to see explored more, like, is Robot a villain? Like, his motivations. That was sort of an interesting one for me. You know, like it sets him up as sort of bad, but then what's he actually doing? It's not really that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I gathered, and hey, maybe I'm just not thinking that deeply about it. I thought that they shaped him as potentially bad, but he was just trying to do something for himself.
Yeah.
And obviously his original form was pretty fucked up. So who could blame
Yeah.
him?
Well, yeah, that's it. I thought he was, like doing like a monster girl type thing, like use her DNA, not Rex's, when they were talking about it.
Yeah.
And so he could sort of be that same thing. But hey,
yeah,
I
did think it was. I think some of the names are pretty funny. Like you've got Adam, Eve, and like Duplicate.
Shrinking
like,
Ray.
Yeah, but it's like they're like your names, like they're like your actual names as well. So it's like, don't you want to go a little bit like you're Adam, Eve? You don't even wear a mask. It's just like Eve. I know an Eve kind of looks like her.
But Rexplode, Duplicate, Shrinking Ray.
That stuff doesn't really take me out of it. I just think it's pretty funny.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of the point.
That I sort of tweeted about it. It was like, people complaining about the end of Man of Steel and the unnecessary destruction. It's like Robert Kirkman just went, "No, fuck you guys. Like, I'll show you some unnecessary destruction." But it was actually quite real. And the other thing, like, I was reflecting back on Wonder Woman 84 as, in my opinion, one of the pin-up movies. G'day, Isaac. As to how to not interpret how gravity and physics sort of work. This is like the polar opposite, when he's just holding him up and they're just going through the train. I'm like, yeah, that's probably what would happen.
Yep. Yeah, I quite liked that that train sequence as well. I thought that was pretty brutal. Isaac says, "Love Clues, awesome poster." Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate that. It's massive. I don't think the camera does it justice. Like it is really, really big. I guess in saying that, is there anything more you want to say on Invincible other than it's been renewed for a second and third season? Maybe for the next couple of seasons we could talk episode to episode on it and how we're enjoying it.
Yeah. No, I reckon that's good. We can probably bypass the spoiler stuff. One thing I was going to pick your brain out. I don't know if Ash is. Ash probably won't know because he hasn't seen it. But there's obviously now been a lot of live action fan casts coming out. Has anything sort of tickled your fancy with if they went down that route?
One that I didn't like was Boss Logic putting in Nick Offerman. Like it didn't. Yeah. Like I love Nick Offerman. Didn't see it at all. Yeah. I don't know what it was about him. I just couldn't see Nick Offerman in that role. Now I saw someone put in John Hamm with a mustache. That I could see. Don't know if it's perfect, but I like it more than Nick Offerman.
I saw someone do a fan art Henry Cavill, and like obviously a lot of people are like, well, that's just too on the nose. But I'm like, that's pretty funny though.
That is pretty funny.
Mine for an Omni
Tom Holland.
Get the fuck out.
Everybody
Mark's
like Tom Holland does.
Yeah. I would accuse Hollywood of whitewashing.
Yeah. Well, they've done it with Ghost in a Shell.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson's Mark.
Yeah. Why not? Just cut her hair short, dye it black. But she's probably looking for another sort of franchise to get into. Now, my Omni-Man, and I'll die on the hill with it, would be Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And the reason I say that is it would be so meta because he kills Stephen Yeun in The Walking Dead. So it's like, there we go, just do it. And he plays loving father and mega a-hole.
That's very true. That would be pretty cool, actually. And also, Jeffrey Dean Morgan can't do any wrong. So
exactly.
You know, it's also weird to me that Jeffrey Dean Morgan is married to the girl who played Peyton on One Tree Hill back in the day. Just so you're aware.
I was know that. Yeah, my teenage soap was the OC, and once that finished, I didn't delve into a bit of One Tree Hill.
All right, so we're gonna bring him in, Ash.
Hey,
I don't know
boys.
what's going on with his camera here?
G'day, man. No, I've
Am
got
I
him.
blurry?
No.
I don't know.
The hell?
There we go. All right. Don't know what happened
Yeah,
there.
fine for me.
So
Hey, boys.
I just want to once again point out that we were supposed to have Enosh from the Poindexter Lounge in today. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it because it's like now 6 a.m. where he is, and he's been up all night. I was on his stream earlier and noticed that he was very, very tired looking. So, yeah. Just quickly wanted to bring in Tony because I feel like he's got something to say on Invincible. And Ash, how are you doing as well?
He's in the back of
Good.
the moving truck.
Got the right drink for the occasion.
You know, I had to jump in quickly. I'm on the road just moving boxes in between, like moving in and everything, but I just had to jump in. I couldn't help it.
You like all shirtless and sweaty and everything, or?
Yeah, super sweaty, super sweaty. Looking like Omni-Man.
Looking like Omni-Man.
Yeah.
All right, that's the way. So fan cast Tony as Omni-Man. So
Need some
so
grapes
tell us what you got to say. Who's your fan cast, Tony?
Drop us some truths.
Fancast for Omni-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get Jeffrey Dean in a muscle suit. Let's go.
Yeah, boy.
You don't
Yeah, boy.
you don't think he could you don't think he can put on that bulk?
Oh, he definitely could if he gets on the Hollywood, juicing diet. So,
Yeah.
you know.
He
Or
could
you could
do
just
it.
borrow
you know.
Zachary Levi's.
Oh,
Exactly.
Levi's muscle suit.
I don't know, man. There's so many great actors, but I don't know. You know what? I don't know if it would translate that well to the live screen, just because there is so much story to flesh out, and it's like I don't want a shortened version of anything. If you're gonna do that, do one little chapter of it. Just give me a prequel series of Omni-Man in his on his planet. So yeah, I wouldn't want to compromise the storyline, and I think that this little drip-fed animated series that we've got, you know what? If you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do a live action, do one 6-episode live action series. But you know what? If we want that, we've already got that with the boys. So I'm loving everything at the moment. The cast is great. You get the best personification of each character because each voice actor is incredible. Mark Hamill was in it. Like, what the hell? So, I don't know. I'm loving everything about it. I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, and I don't think there'll be a live if there ever is a live action. We won't be getting that for a very long time. Some people had a little bit of beef with the animation. I personally, I don't have an eye really for that. I thought it was all fine. I thought the animation was really, really good. Like, it never took me out.
To be honest, if there's anything to criticize animation-wise, it's that, look at it's a very simplified line approach. Like, all the strokes are very thin compared to, like, the new DC animated where they're doing the very thick, bold kind of stroke outlines on the faces and whatnot. But you got such a big, long runtime. I wasn't taken out of it at all because it's like the story is good. Your mind fills in the gaps between it. It's not over-stylized.
I would 100% agree with that.
So get on it, Ash.
Yeah, Ash.
So the plan is weekend binge.
I'm having trouble
That
here
is
with
the
Ash.
plan.
You're frozen for me, mate.
Hang on.
He's all moving on my end.
Hang on. I think I know why.
Oh,
Okay, hang on.
Say
Hang
something,
on. Is
Ash.
that better?
I can't see you moving.
Hello,
but,
is that better?
I don't know if I can
Is that
hear.
better?
Ash, you look
It's fine
beautiful,
for
by the
me.
way.
Thanks, Tony.
And single, remember, we established this. Was it last
Yes.
week?
Hey.
Emphasis.
Is anyone
Is that
out
better?
there wanting to sit down with Ash to watch Invincible?
OnlyFans Twitch stream.
Oh, man.
Oh, all right.
Is
I
that
don't know
better
what's
though?
going on here.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine on my end.
Fine.
So maybe it's
Hang
just
on.
your
On the
computer
stream, am I blurry on the stream?
I don't know what's happening.
glue.
Yeah, good for me. Good for me as well.
I don't
Hang on.
know. My computer's just not liking Ash at the moment. Apparently,
Hang on.
he's just like frozen. It's just he's dropped out.
Let it go.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
There's been a fair bit of stuff happening this week. I mean, stuff we don't want to see. I don't know about you, but let's see. Here he is. He's moving around. Ash, that's all you needed to do. Drop in, drop out. You're all good.
Swap sides.
It's because I put it on 720.
I'm
Trying to make
back.
myself look pretty. That's why.
That's why.
Well, I got the YouTube feed up and it all looks fine.
Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah.
What I was just saying, real quick, was the plan
Please.
for Invincible was binge sesh on Friday night. So
Nice.
I'm getting onto it. 6 episodes, right? There's 6 episodes.
Yeah,
Season
6 or 8, something like that.
And they're about, what, an hour? 45 minutes?
Yeah,
I think?
45 to
45,
55,
Excellent. All right.
depending on the episode. But, you'll
You
probably
know
get
what,
sort of
Ash?
3 or 4 in.
You know what, Ash? I think, to be honest, I wasn't hooked straight away. I thought, what is the generic piece of crap with just a big cast or taking a cash grab or easy money for them. But I think stick with it because each episode ends on just such a bomb. It's just, oh my god, I need to watch the next one. So
Sounds good.
that hook, line, and sinker after 1 or 2.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds good. I'll have at least 2 of these.
So, jumping on, we're going to be on for another half hour. I just want to ask your boys' thoughts. So, the big news this week was this Vero post. Thank you, sir, for everything. WB does not deserve you at all. Somebody posted to Zack on Vero, and Zack responded, "Nor want me." Where do you guys how did you guys feel about that?
It's just banging the drum, really. It's nothing we didn't know. He said it multiple times. Look, up until now, no one's told me they want more, so I'm just going to assume. And let's not cry about it. We got the 3 fucking best movies DC have put out ever. So that's fact until proven different, and it's not news. It's just making noise and making it loud and creating the dialogue, which is what we're trying to do. Make it sound so ridiculous that others can actually think otherwise. How the hell after what we just saw? So I don't know.
No, that's fair. What about yourself, Ash?
It just shows really everything we already knew, that they never wanted the Snyder Cut released in the first place. And that, it just kind of, spits in the face of that Anne Sarnoff, what she said in that Variety article, going, "Oh, we're so happy that Zack can finish his trilogy, and yay! We're so thankful for you, Zack." Just a crappy attempted PR stunt. I just think, to be honest, I think for me, it's really just kind of put me at the point where I've lost a lot of respect for Warner Brothers. I don't view them, I guess, I don't affiliate them so much with DC level credit. I just see them as a studio that, sure, they'll provide budgets for some hit movies. They'll choose the distribution platforms. But at the end of the day, the people that really deserve the credit are the directors, the creators, and the actors, and everyone involved in making the projects happen. Just my opinion, but I've lost a lot of respect for WB.
That's
not only that.
The detriment of
also
with the company working against them, essentially.
And it's not the first time. It's not the first time you've seen a company put their pockets ahead of the product, because you saw that all those people involved got those bonus checks before end of financial year, pushing the release date of Justice League. So look, whatever it is, they'll shorten run times. They'll do whatever they need to get done, compromise creativity. Look what they did to Dune, trying to push it on HBO Max. It's not about the streaming kind of thing. It's that they will put their pockets ahead of whatever the best creative viewing experience is.
Yeah, absolutely. John, where do you sit on everything?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I saw you guys would know Krypton Cage. He's sort of put a little bit of a timeline on events of the changing of the guard of what happened within sort of when Warner Max was a thing, and that was a pretty interesting read. Obviously, we'll never really know the full details, but it does still seem like there was a swing between HBO Max launching, Jason Kilar coming in, them giving Zack $70 million to finish this, and then to go cold on it. Like it, I kind of feel like if you weren't going to explore further, to spend $70 million to quote unquote get people off your back, like it just seemed incredibly short-sighted. So I think there might have been some people around that were still keen to see it progress. The place was restructured, and they don't want to go down that route. But like what Tony said, the pressure will always be on them. I mean, they've got to deliver with this next slate of films, and whether, like I was saying the other day, my positive, optimistic theory is that maybe the Flash movie maybe establishes the multiverse a little bit more, in your face to the general audience. But, I think that's not a great way to look at it because, Zack's comment, Ray Fisher's not signed onto the Flash yet. So all signs are pointing to nothing's going to happen in the short term. And until the current people involved go, well, I think we can just enjoy some Snyder content on Netflix in the meantime.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's the other thing to think is that we're seeing all this sort of negative stuff piling on at the moment. As I showed you guys, I sent that article through to you before regarding the numbers and the fact that it's all signs are pointing to the fact that it was really well received over there. Even if there was anything at this point, all of that would just take hype away from Army of the Dead. And I think what we'd all like to see is Army of the Dead get hyped as much. And that's something that is, that's something that we've got to work on, and that's something that we've got to help hype. And I don't know that everybody will, but at the end of the day, I think more hype for Army is a great thing because what I would like for people to see is that this isn't just a fan base for the DC films anymore. It's sort of extended beyond that. It's a fan base that supports Zack, and it shows studios that by supporting this man's vision, you get this built-in fan base and built-in audience. And I think Army doing well proves that, but it also might, show that it's like, well, fuck you, Warner Brothers. If you're not going to do the right thing, then we will move. Like, it's not about the characters anymore. We want to see the characters, but not compromise. So
we want to. It's like there'd be a massive contingent of Nolan fans. They watched the Dark Knight series, but I'm sure them plus many others went to your Interstellars, went to your Inceptions.
Absolutely.
Went to your Tenets. Like it's the creator that we want to see. When Martin Scorsese puts a film out, I'm going to watch anything that he does.
Man, I'll show up every single time. I'll show up every time, even as a DC fan. I say I'll hate on it, but I'll still there 7:30 a.m. first session for Shazam. I'll have my things that I'll support it. And Nolan, Tenet, I was there at the drive-ins during COVID, first session available. Side note, that's all I got time for. Good to hang with you all. I'll see you next week.
See you, Tony.
Good luck, man.
See you guys. Love you guys. All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye. Just on Tenet as well, I may have faked a work meeting so I could cross the border when Victoria was in lockdown. So I could go to the cinemas that were just over the border with a work permit. Because where I was, there was no COVID, but Melbourne there was. But right on the border, we hadn't had it at all.
Yeah.
So and I really wanted to see Tenet when it came out. My poor friend in Melbourne.
Was it worth it to you?
You know what? I like Tenet a lot. I hit 45 minutes in. I turned to my friend. I said, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And she's like,
well, I had a few things going on in my life when that came out, and I was like, oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go watch Tenet to take my mind off things. Caught up with my friend, and we both walked in. We're like,
what the hell just happened?
So I was like, and I still haven't seen it again. I need to watch it again, but with subtitles.
Yeah. Look, the subtitles, I watched it at home. you can adjust the volume and do what you want to do. And I didn't bother with subtitles, but anyway, moving on from Tenet, I just want to point out a couple of things that Ronnie says here. Ronnie's pointed out there looks like there's a legit internal war at WB. What on earth was the aim of WB dropping that Justice League trailer? It was released in 4K years ago. What are your guys' thoughts? This is a really good question. I just want to go through and find.
Do you think an intern dropped the wrong trailer accidentally? Do you think it was intentional?
Nah.
The other Justice League.
Crap! Wrong trailer. No.
Let's see.
What's the dislike number up to it?
Yeah, I was about to ask. Surely it's close to 100K at this point.
100K.
It's got to be, hopefully. And I feel like it's only getting the views. I think it's got close to 800, 900K views. I think it's only getting those views because of the outrage.
Well, I think Aaron mentioned
it has 728K views, so it hasn't even hit 1 million views. Of that, it's got 96K disliked, and I've just disliked it as the confirmed.
How many likes though?
4.2K. And the comments are destroying it. Also pointing out that Marvel dropped a fantastic trailer today, and so I don't know. I think that was very intentional. The Justice League trailer, I think it was stupid. Even Zack commented saying they crossed the line doing that, which
I just sort of read that as an Army of the Dead quote type reference. I think he was having a bit of fun. It's like they got a damn zombie tiger.
To tell.
That I know that's how I sort of read it, but it could be wrong. But I think Aaron mentioned too, some sort of civil war, because it was a few months ago, Keli came out and said, I wouldn't be surprised if there'd be a $1 billion production one day. And I was just listening to is it Robert Meyer Burnett or whatever on Dave's stream the other day, and they were talking about for streaming, the immediate sort of outlook is to probably just have lower production costs and start with smaller level films and whatnot. But just if Keli is sort of talking about $1 billion production one day, clearly he's not too worried.
And also, you look at that and you go, okay, but again, when a director has a built-in fan base, like to throw $200 million at Christopher Nolan to say make a movie for HBO Max that is also going to go that isn't out of the realms and of possibility by any means, and it's the same sort of thing with Zack by this point anyway.
It just doesn't make sense. And again, I remember listening to one of it was a Real Emotion or something that Stephen Colbert was on. It's like, listen, anything you need to stop trying to make logical sense out of stuff, because a lot of stuff just doesn't make sense in Hollywood. So it's like, you know what? It could these decisions could be changing daily. We don't know. They could be in meetings right now going, oh yeah, no, we'll continue. And then tomorrow they go, no, actually, fuck it. So
look, Marty and I are in a group chat with a few people, and he's in there and is often sort of giving a bit more of that logic to a lot of the people in this group chat, sort of like that you'll be sitting here and going, surely this has happened. I think I mentioned the fact that something about the crashes, the servers crashing, and he was sort of going, look, the servers crashing wasn't as big a deal as it was sort of made out to be, things like that. He's really very grounded, and I respect that a lot about Colbert. He definitely obviously wants it to happen, but he's watching as a journalist. And
exactly. Yeah. And that's why I think that the stream with Robert, he's like Meyer Burnett, I think. He's obviously worked in the industry, and it's like, you've got to look at it in a practical sense. Like what I was saying, you announce it, you want to do it, but what's Godot's schedule? What's Momoa's schedule? What's all these other people who are becoming more and more booked and more popular. So, hey, we could be on here.
Here he is. Let me just get to you, mate. Hold on.
But wishful thinking whilst you bring in our esteemed guest.
That's it.
There's just so much to fall in place, but I think one thing demands there. You just think if you want to capitalize on it, now's the time to do it. But I also think that they can look more broadly and go, listen, we want to do it, but like we can't do it right now because like look at all these people that are booked. Zach's got other movies and stuff that he wants to do.
Yeah. And
it's a lot of
he's got Horse Latitudes straight after Army. He's going into Horse Latitudes. Like at bare minimum, there's a lot of bridges to cross. I think announcing anything before Army, even if they wanted to do it, but I think there's a lot of hurdles, and I think even thinking that the conversations are positive at the moment is probably wishful thinking on our end.
You need to get the drop. It's like you're living in a fucking dream world.
Wake the fuck up!
Are you effing stupid?
It didn't even come up.
Message time.
What are you, stupid? Oh man, no, it's definitely interesting, and it's interesting what you said before, John, about the fact that you sort of read that as just a quote from the Army of the Dead trailer, because like for me, I looked at it with him saying they crossed the line, like sort of like there was malicious intent.
Yeah, I'm sure there was probably dual meaning to it. Like there was a quote there going, "Yeah, of course," like that's. But I don't know if it was a face-to-face thing going, "You fucking crossed the line." Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. It is hard to imagine. Ronnie's putting up, but even the Ayer cut is wishful thinking at this point, boys. Yeah, I think it'll happen eventually. I just think that like where everything is now, like if Zack Snyder's Justice League was to go any further, Army of the Dead would be holding it up. I think if the Ayer cut was to come out, Suicide Squad is holding it up. Like it's still definitely within the realm of possibility, but just how legit it is, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. And I guess that brings us to the introduction of our special guest.
Enosh. Hi, guys.
How you doing, man?
What's going on, man?
I'm doing excellent. Yeah. I'm here.
You're here.
Yes, I am.
So what time is it there? And when was the last time you slept?
It is 6:18 in the morning.
Lovely.
And what time did I get up yesterday? I don't know. I think I got up around noon yesterday. So.
Yeah.
Damn.
God damn. No,
I roll. And if you saw me just like an hour and a half ago, I was like,
yeah.
I'm gonna get off my own stream.
That's right. I jumped in and I was like obviously commenting, and I saw you like eyes look like they were hanging out of your head, man. You're like,
well, in my defense though, you must have just missed because Saggy was making me laugh so hard, like I was literally crying. So I looked a whole lot worse than I felt. I mean, I was getting tired, but because we did a 5-hour. I just got off a 5-hour stream, dude.
Yeah, all right.
But no, she had me crying, just laughing so hard that my eyes were like red and itchy, and I was just like rubbing my eyes, and yeah. And you come in there, I'm like, yeah, I'm supposed to be on their podcast in like an hour. So
I was like, yeah, I better give him an out. He looks like he needs to catch up on his sleep.
No, it's all good. It's all good. We can do this another time too. But I'm a man of my word.
That's what we like to hear, and we'll have you whenever you want to be involved.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So where are you guys from and everything?
So myself, I'm from sort of between Melbourne and Sydney. So we're all Australian based.
Nice.
Yeah, John, where are you? Gold Coast?
Yeah, so I'm Brisbane, but yeah, I'm about an hour north of the Gold Coast, which is where they filmed the bulk of Aquaman, wasn't it, on the Gold Coast?
Yeah.
So around there, I think they did a few of the Pirates of the Caribbean. They're doing Thor: Love and Thunder, I think, in parts of it. I think they also filmed Young Rock in Brisbane or something. Yeah. I wanted to sort of.
I actually know. I know a guy whose younger brother is playing the Young Rock at age 18 or something.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's an interesting show to me. That's an interesting show to me. I
tried to go as a body double for the adult Rock, but they said I was too big. So
yeah.
That's
why you missed out on Black Adam as well, right?
Yes, exactly. It's like we just can't fit you on this screen.
And Ash, you're Sydney.
Central Sydney, man.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I have met so many people from Australia this last year who are just just great people, man. I got another friend in near Sydney, and I don't know where my other friend is now. But yeah, I've met so many people. In fact, one person was like telling me that that they knew a lot of people who watch Poindexter Lounge in Australia, and I was like, wow. Maybe it's because of the weird hours I'm on. Nobody in the United States cares because I'm like wee hours in the morning.
Well, I'm often watching in the afternoons when it's like slow at work. I've just got my phone sitting in front of me with my headphones in, and I'm just commenting. So if you ever see like the Kent Farm on, it's pretty much always me just sitting at work, waiting to go home with nothing else to do.
Nice.
Yeah, Enosh, I got to tell you.
To Australia, Enosh?
I've never been to Australia. No, I would love to come to Australia, though. I would absolutely love to travel to Australia.
You're not afraid of all the it is a long flight. You're not afraid of all the deadly animals and things we've got going down here?
No. So I've got this weird thing. I'm fascinated by great white sharks.
Yeah. Okay.
I've always been fascinated by great white sharks, and I've always felt there's two things that I want to do, but I feel like I'm just too chicken to do. Is one is skydiving, because I feel like I really want to skydive.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I died skydiving, I'd just be like, what a waste that was. Like, like I had all this more life to live, and I just totally threw that away. But the other thing that I want to do, and I just don't know that I have the guts to do it, would be to like go like cage, like get in a cage and like look at sharks and stuff, because like I've always had a fear of sharks. I mean, because I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s with like Jaws and stuff, so I was always like, I started swimming at a young age, and like I always would have a mask on and stuff, and like being in the pool, like it would always freak me out, even for some reason. I don't know, it's just weird, but like I've been in the ocean several times and been snorkeling and things like that, and I don't know, I've snorkeled down in like the Bahamas, and when I snorkeled down in the Bahamas, I kind of lost all fear, like I was at first when I got into the ocean, but like we were on this reef, and we were just going down, and it was like, and it was fine. Once I was out there, I was fine. But it's just that idea of like looking out into the darkness, especially there, I know that there's like some crazy, big sharks and stuff.
I mean, you hear about what's his name? That Mick, the guy who got bitten by a great white shark and he punched it in the face, and that's how he got away.
The most Aussie thing ever. Yeah,
that's so Australian.
Yeah,
that's it right there.
You've obviously got your sharks, down, but then if you go up to the northern parts of Australia, you've got the like big ass like crocodiles, and they're like fucking dinosaurs. Yeah, you get them, and they're like 10, 15, 20 meters long, and you look at them and you just feel like crying.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. That's insane. That's just insane. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those things too, though, and why I brought it up is because like I think from the outside looking in, I know from the outside looking in, it's like it's so much worse than it obviously is. But like when it's something that you just grow up with, you don't necessarily think about it.
Sure.
But then you look at stats like I think Australia has 8 of the 10 most deadly spiders, and you go, okay, well, I didn't know that, but cool. That's something that we have here, snakes and all that sort of stuff. But there's a good
comedic act called the Scared Weird Little Guys. Have any of you heard of them? They're like comedic musicians, but they have a song about, because they're Australian, about the deadly things that will kill you. It was like, if you were going to do a tourism ad for Australia, this is what you wouldn't do. Because then it doesn't even do with big things that kill you. You go into the water and you get done by a jellyfish. All right.
Yeah, well, jellyfish everywhere. Yeah.
So we're probably not selling Australia to you that much right now.
Look, I don't know, man. Like I said, I've always found Australia to be a very interesting place that I think it looks beautiful. I mean, just on what I've seen, but no, I mean, it is strange. Like when I guess, I think from any place, like, trying to like really capture like what that place is. Cause I know like now I talk to so many people all over the world, which I love that it expands that, and all of a sudden, you're talking to people from the UK, you're talking to people from Egypt or somewhere in Africa, somewhere else in Africa, I should say. It's a continent, not a country. I know.
Yeah.
This is how long I've been streaming. My light just went off. The battery died. But no, so it's like you've talked, Ireland and, and like all these different places. And it's so funny because like being in the United States, people have kind of a, it's kind of the same thing. People wonder what it's like to live in the United States, because of just everything that people see. People think that, like we're just burning the place down and, and sometimes
I can tell you that having visited, I went and was in LA for a day and then New York for a week just before New Year's 2019. And then we did New Year's in Vegas. And I can tell you that, like, for me, guns is something we don't think about like at all, right?
Okay.
Because in 1994, I think there was a mass shooting here and we got rid of guns and outside of like licenses and like cut it down. Nobody has them. So it's not a thought you really have. That was the last mass shooting we had 27 years ago. So for me, I was in Vegas walking the strip and I'm seeing like full army cars and assault rifles. I went to the Staples Center and I went to the one in Brooklyn as well. And just to go to a sporting match to see them walking around with assault rifles, like for me, I'm like, this is fucked up. Like,
well, too, like, so in that defense, so I'm originally from Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've been to LA and I've been to New York and, that is not representative of the United States. That's like the craziest places you could possibly go.
Yeah.
Like pretty much in the United States is LA, Vegas, and New York probably. Like, cause it's just a different world,
Absolutely.
It's just the rest of the country. I mean, people feel strongly about their guns. I mean, I live in Michigan and it's a huge hunting, state, where people of all ages hunt, and it's, so hunting, fishing, things like that, game, stuff like that. And so, I don't know. It's weird. Cause like, I don't see any like assault rifles anywhere I go, like anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it's like even when I go to Detroit is known for, being this horribly, crime ridden place, but you don't see that in Detroit.
Yeah.
So I think it's just heightened in different places. It's kind of like when I went to Cancun for the first time, everybody was like, like I went to Cancun with Tiffany for our 1-year anniversary. And everybody was like, "Oh, are you sure you want to go there? Oh my gosh, they've got gorillas and they've got, just our soldiers are walking around with, heavy artillery and stuff." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I don't know if I want to go now." And Tiffany had been before, and she's like, "Yeah, but no, I've never seen that when I went." And so like, we go down there, and the scariest thing that I encountered in Cancun was the bus driver that drove us into town. Like I didn't see any military presence really that I remember. I mean, we went to Walmart, like we went to Walmart. We, what I mean? We went into town, we shopped, and it was so good. The bus driver drove crazy insane, but that was about it, man, and so, but now people did tell us while we were down there though, like don't venture outside the city. Like don't venture outside the city by yourself, like you don't want to do that. But, like, I don't know. So, I think there's just places sometimes in the world that are just heightened, because of like where they are and what is located in those places. LA obviously is a huge hot button. New York is a huge hot button, a place, and there's a lot of money in Vegas. And
of course.
so there's a lot of security,
Anywhere where there's a dense population, there's just so many different people in the world. So Clue was up at the Gold Coast, which there is like a little, I don't know if you'd call it a glamour strip, but Surfers Paradise is a bit of a party sort of central type thing. And you always hear fights and everything sort of breaks out. It just comes down to people being, dickheads at times.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that'll happen anywhere.
That's it. Well, one thing I wanted to ask you about, Enosh, was just an experience.
Nope, that's all the time you get. Thanks, guys. It was good seeing you. I just came here to talk about Australia and guns. That was it. That was all I was.
What?
That's all the agenda you sent me. So that's all I prepared for.
That's it. Yeah, that's the DC news.
It's just guns in Australia.
Guns in Australia.
That's a spin-off. No, one thing I wanted to ask about, because I haven't actually had a chance to see it, but you recently went to Batman vs. Superman Comes Home and got to see the Ultimate Edition, was it? Ultimate Edition in IMAX?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't in IMAX. No, it was just on a regular screen. Yeah. Yeah.
But still, Ultimate Edition at the cinema. How was the experience? And obviously, there was a lot of people from the community there that you got to meet. So yeah, tell me about how.
Oh my gosh, man, that was so much fun. I was coming off of also that whole weekend was just crazy because do you guys know Dawson that I stream with? Nerdy in many ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know Dawson. Yeah.
Okay. So Dawson and I had planned this trip down to Metropolis, Illinois, which is about a 10-hour drive from where I'm at. And he flew in on Thursday night. I drove to Detroit, met him at Detroit. His flight got in at about 5:00. We drove right from there all the way through to Metropolis, Illinois. Got there at about 3 in the morning, 3 or 4 in the morning. And we had time zone. We crossed time zones. So we actually lost an hour, gained an hour actually, and it was still 3 or 4 in the morning. And we watched WandaVision. We watched like that night because we got there, and so we watched it. And so we got 2 hours sleep. Got up the next day, went to the Superman Museum, and we had dedicated a brick at the museum. I don't know if you guys saw that. We did. And so people were great. People gave to this thing where we they have a walkway there at the Superman Museum where you can buy these bricks and dedicate them to friends or family members or anybody. And so we put a campaign together. We got a big brick that's dedicated to Zack Snyder and his family. And because when I was there last summer with my family and we were just talking about it, and I said, there's some celebrities there and things. And I said, who needs a brick here is Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder needs a commemorative brick here. So we did that. And so Dawson and I went down for the, what is it called? Basically to see it, put in, and installed. So, and I interviewed them, and I still haven't, I get so busy. And I hate editing. I hate that. People are asking me why I do so many live streams now. Because I used to just do regular videos, but it's it's a lot easier to just do live streams. You just do all your prep and then you just do it live and it's already all there. But, but it sounds like my house. Dogs. But no, so I still have to put out my video actually interviewing them about the brick. And so I'm going to do that. But so we got there early in the morning on Friday morning, saw the brick, saw the people, interviewed the people. They actually took us on a private tour of the museum. And the guy even put on a Jor-El robe and let us through, which was awesome, which was fantastic. And
did he let you wear it?
No, he didn't let us wear it, but he had it on. He had it on. It was just the black robe. It was like from Superman the movie, the black robe with the white vest, kind of like that. So he took us around, and that was really awesome. And then we got done, and it was 3 in the afternoon, and we turned right around, man, and drove right home. And so in the space of about 24 hours, I drove about 20 of those hours, 19 or 20 of those hours. So it was pretty crazy. And so then the next day we were getting up and going to see Batman versus Superman so we got up the next day, we got in, got a couple hours sleep, got up the next day, got down there, and man, it was so cool. First of all, it was really cool meeting people. That's the one thing I love most about this community. And what I keep trying to tell people, like, even, you know, like I heard you guys talking about, like, you know, like the restore the SnyderVerse, you know, idea and concept, you know, and it's like I just keep trying to remind people, like, regardless, if we ever see anything again, you know, look what's happened. Look at the people who've come together. I'm talking to you guys. You guys are on the other side of the planet from me right now. You know, yet we're
Absolutely.
bonded and united over something that we love, you know? And I think that that's a huge thing. I think that that's a huge positive thing.
Absolutely,
and Zach even said at I think it was at Justice Con last year, you know, he said, if nobody even ever sees my movie, if nobody sees the Snyder Cut, if it never, you know, if something changed and it doesn't come out, the positiveness of, is that a word? I don't know. The positivity of the fandom. See, it's 6:30 in the morning, but I can still
We're
brain.
Australian. You can can be really lazy.
I can
with
still
language
brain.
here.
All right.
You just make
I
up
can
words for fun.
Nice. Didgeridoo. I like it. But right. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. But like I said, didgeridoo, and all of a sudden, all I'm getting is like childhood memories of watching Rocco's Modern Life. And singing Tie Me Kangaroo Down in music class. So I don't even know if that's a thing, but you know,
it is. Well,
there you go.
Weird that
the second national anthem.
Yeah, it's always weird seeing what's made it outside of Australia.
Right. But no, so I'm just saying, like, you know, Zach said, if nobody sees it, you know, look at the positivity that's happened. And you know, I mean, people have come together. They've raised over $750,000 for suicide prevention in honor of Autumn Snyder. And so anybody who ever like tries to give me guff about, you know, the fandom, or, you know, like, or tries to come at me, I mean, I get so many messages from people who are just like, give it up, it's done, it's dead, you just need to go away, you need to talk about something else and stuff. And I'm just like, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. Hey, I'll keep talking about this. You know, I literally had one friend who had watched my channel since, like, it was just me and my kids, you know, sitting on the couch with my wife talking about movies. And he's like, I'm getting sick of, he says he's a DC fan. You guys are in Australia, so he'll never see this. He's right. That's how the internet works, right?
That's right.
Right. Exactly. But he told me, he messaged me one day, like, he announced to me that he was going to like unsubscribe to my channel. This is an actual person I know. Okay. Has my phone number, could have texted me, could have just driven the 10 minutes over to my house and like had a conversation with me, but decided not to. And he's a guy who tells me that he loves all the same stuff that I love, yet he hates everything. Like, he literally hates everything.
I know people like that.
Yeah. And he just, you know, and like, you know, and everything is, oh, Marvel is brilliant. I'm a big DC fan. Marvel is brilliant. Marvel is doing everything right. DC sucks. I hate the SnyderVerse. I want to see this and that. And I'm just like, whatever, man. And so, but we've been friends, but like, he literally left a comment on one of my videos. Like, it's like, dude,
pick up the phone. Yeah.
Call me, man. You know, like, seriously. Well, and the funny thing was, he left a comment and deleted it right away. But you still see that when you're in pro tip for everybody out there. If you put it out there, we still see it. We have this thing called YouTube Studio that still saves it. And so I know. And so like, I saw this and I was like, really? So I texted him. I didn't, you know, I didn't have an actual thing to message him back with. So I texted him. I was like, dude, what's all that about? And he's just like, well, I want you to go back to making content like you used to, you know, like just doing movie trailer reviews and toy reviews and stuff. And I said, dude, there hasn't been a movie out in over a year. Like, what the heck? He's like, well, I don't like these long live streams that you do that are like 3 hours or whatever. I can't watch all that. I'm like, so you're mad at me because you can't watch every bit of content that I put out? Like, what the heck, man? I'm like, dude, you don't have to watch all of it. It's like the Snyder Cut. You can watch it in segments if you need to. Like, I watch it while you're at work, like you do. You know, like I don't listen to it like a podcast. That's how I listen to all my friends. You know,
right.
but like he's literally
sure
giving me a hard time. I know he was literally giving me a hard.
He'd find one. Like, there's that much content going around on YouTube. I'm sure he could find something if he's.
I know.
Give you a breather.
I know, but he was so mad about that. He was so mad about that, and I was like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. And he's like, plus, I'm getting sick of you talking about, you know, the Snyder Cut. Well, this was like a week and a half before the Snyder Cut came out. And I'm like, dude, what do you?
All right, I'll stop. I'll stop now. This is the time.
I'll stop right now. This is when I'll stop. Right? I'm not gonna do any more content right before the Snyder Cut happens. Yeah, that'll work. So. I don't know, man. So people are weird. People are, you know, are strange. But the reality is, you know, like I said, it's a thing of. I think that it's brought a lot of good people together, and there's always going to be people who have negativity, you know, and it doesn't mean that it's part of the fandom or it's this or that. It's just that there's people like that in the world. So. You know, so I just
get a large group of any people, and some of them are going to be assholes. It's as simple as that. Like, regardless of what the community is, some of them are fuckwits, and you just got to deal with it. So, like, I guess
is that an Australian term?
Fuckwit.
Yeah. Well,
I'm like, is it?
I mean, I think we won't use the quota, but the C-bomb is actually a term of endearment to in Australia too. So I mean, I think we have maybe a monthly quota. Clue used it live last week, so we probably won't say it live for another month.
The quota.
You can be a good Australian.
Good on you, mate. Yeah. Good on you.
To teach you a little Australian, you call your mates cunts, and you call cunts mates. If you're in a fight with someone, if you're walking up to someone, they're rocking up. You say, "You want to go, mate?" You say that.
Don't say that, mate. Like,
these guys here,
mate.
These are sick cunts right here. That I make this podcast with a couple of sick cunts. It's.
I was starting to think maybe you were using Ann Sarnoff math there, like, you know. Okay, sure. Well, I think it's fun. You know, language is funny, man, all over the world, right? Because like you're in the United States, you know, this is wholesome content. At least it was. I don't know. This might be wholesome Australian content. I don't know.
Yeah. There's no aggression. Like they said cunt about 8 times in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's got to be wholesome. Yeah, in the United States, then nobody. They, oh my gosh, bells and whistles would be going off. You know, the United States is so weird, man. Western civilization is very strange. Like when it comes to language and you know. And things, and I look at it funny. A lot of the people that I work with, because of what I do, I think it's funny because people have this, I don't know, this preconceived notion about what people should be like, you know, in certain situations, and you know, I don't know. I've never been a prude. I was raised by my grandma, dude. And my grandma out in Las Vegas, my grandma was an entertainer, man. You know, my grandma ran around in the 60s with, you know, with celebrities and stuff like that. And so like my grandma raised me and my 2 sisters, and like my grandma just always told it the way it was, you know, and so it's like, you know, she never like hid anything like that from us, but there are so many people that I know, like you could tell that they're uncomfortable in their own skin. You wonder how they had kids, you know, because they had to at some point see another human being naked.
Maybe the lights were off. Who knows? It's like,
the lights were off. The covers were over. You know,
maybe where I parked my car.
Yeah, right. You know, I don't know. You know, maybe they were fully clothed with the zipper open. I don't know, but you know, I'm just like
9 months later, the baby's crawling around the house. Like, where'd that come from?
Who knows? It's just, you know, but I do find it funny though, like language across the world. Because things that like we would not consider, I think it's weird here in the United States. You can swear in other languages on air.
Yeah.
But you can't use the English version of that word. Or it's so weird. Like I don't get that. Like I don't know. We just have all these weird rules that I don't even think we know why.
Yeah,
you know?
like just in terms, is this in terms of like content, YouTube and stuff, or you talking like television?
No,
or
like
just
television,
general live?
television, radio, stuff like that. Yeah, you can swear. I've heard people use, drop language and swear words in other languages, and it's like what it is, and it's like that makes it like that's a whole segment of the population that just heard you drop that. Like what? But I guess because
I like when they try to get creative and try to go. They try to sort of have the word, but find another way to say it. Like, have any of you watched The Last Kingdom on Netflix? I don't know if it's Netflix. It's like a Vikings ripoff, and then surely some of you have seen Spartacus.
Oh yeah.
Like the way
like
some of the dialogue's written in that, it's just like, well, you're trying to be a little bit more ancient, but it's like I just remember the guy. He played the dorky brother off of the Mummy movies, and him always saying like copious amount of cock, and it's like, what the fuck does that even mean? It's just like, yeah.
And I know people who swear like a sailor sometimes. Which I wonder, anyways, they swear like all the time, but like, I do videos sometimes about, some characters in the Star Wars community, one in particular named Doomcock. And like people are like, oh my gosh, Enosh said Doomcock? And like they won't even say it. They'll be like, Doomcook guy, or, whatever.
Oh,
I'm just
really?
like,
Just say it. Just say it. It's all good.
Like that's his name. Like I don't know.
We
like,
actually funny. We had a guy at work whose last name is Alcock, and one of the HR people was like, "Oh, we've got an interview with someone Alec," and I'm like, "That's not the name."
My favorite thing. I worked for FedEx for years, and I was a sales rep for FedEx, and we had this lady. We had a couple of customers, and we always used to laugh because one, her name was Denise, but her last name was Porn, and she was a white lady, but she had married this Asian guy whose last name was Porn. And so her name was Denise Porn. And so every time you'd see her, you'd be like, Denise Porn, right? And then, but then there was this other lady that we knew whose name was Gail, but she went by the name Gay. And I said, now what if she had married that dude?
Yeah.
Her name would be Gay Porn. Like,
I think you'd go by Gail at that point, wouldn't you?
I'm like, what? Like, okay, sure. Gay Porn. We also had a customer. He had changed his name. John likes that one.
That's stuff. I remember being working at another job once, and I was like the third or fourth in line to actually answer the phone call, and someone did call up, and this was. Well, I was 19, so over 10 years ago, and they're like, "Oh, hi, it's my name's Gay," and I just had to be like,
"Right, give me a minute."
You're young, and it's just like, because you're not expecting that.
Then you answer the phone. "Hi, I'm Gay." I didn't ask.
It was almost like
personal.
The reverse Barry Allen, Diane. It's like, "Hi, Gay, I'm John." That ain't right.
We had another guy. His name was. He had changed his name to this. But he had changed his name to Sexual Blue. And he would come in. He would come in, and the people waiting the counter anytime that we'd see him walking up through the window, like you'd see the window, there's this little path in front of the store, and he'd come in, and like everybody'd start chuckling. And he paid attention. He noticed that people chuckled. And so one day I was helping him with a project, and he comes up and he says, it really bothers me every time I come in here. I feel like people are like chuckling or laughing. And he's like, I don't understand. Like, is it me? What's the deal? Like, why are you guys always chuckling and laughing? I think it's very rude of you guys. And I just looked up at him and I said, dude, your name is Sexual Blue.
Yeah.
You picked that name.
You chose it. Oh.
That'd be like picking the name gay porn and then being like, no, don't you be laughing when you say my name, you know?
Yeah.
Come on, you know.
Just setting it up. Well, I guess
don't take yourself
John,
so serious, you know?
Yeah. I was saying, my sister went to school with someone. She's from overseas, and her name was like Pueed or something like that, but it was spelled PHUKHEAD. So basically, I was like, yeah. So it's just poor people, and that's why I was pretty lucky. Like, because my sister's name is Sharon. You know, you grow up with your sibling, and you think that their names are normal. Everyone's like, "Geez, I've never heard that name before. It's so unique, and you'll never meet another Sharons." And I come along, it's like, "Who's this?" Fuck, just call him John.
Yeah.
So
I did. So I started doing that this year. So my middle name is Paul, and like everywhere that I've got my entire life, I just started doing this last year. I kid you not. Anytime I'd go get a coffee and they'd be like, okay, well, whose name is it? Enosh. What? Enosh. What? Like, how do you spell that? And it's like this whole thing. Every time I ever go any place where I have to leave my name and they have to tell me. So last year I go to this restaurant and they asked me my name, and like there was this huge line. There was all this stuff going on. And I just looked around and I started telling my name and I just went, you know what? Screw it. My name's Paul. And they go, okay, thank you. They wrote it down and it was like, Paul? Okay, yeah. I was like, oh my God. I just discovered it's a hack. I just discovered something that made my life so much easier than to have to explain my name to everybody, to people who don't care, don't need to know my name, and don't need to ever use it again. It is weird though when you have to show
like, yeah, the Bruce would be like, flat white for Paul, and about 8 other people go, yep.
Yeah. The only time it's weird is when I have to show my ID for something or like pay for something. And they see my name on my credit card or my ID, and they're like, it's my middle name. It's okay. What did you have, Ash? I see you had.
So I've been working in business sales for a few years now, and I swear, one of the first few weeks on the job, one of my workmates. Apparently, some customer had an email called Mrs. Squirt 25 at gmail.com. Just let off the loudest.
Oh my gosh! Oh my god!
Well, we all had bad email addresses once upon a time.
Oh, there's this kid on the TikTok app, which so I get some of the drops for my channel from TikTok because there's just like a lot. There's just so many funny creators on TikTok. There's just a bunch of stupid girls dancing on TikTok, but there's some really funny creators on TikTok. And this one kid, he films himself going into businesses, and when they want to ask his email to be able to send him promotions, he makes up the craziest things. Like he'll be like. Okay, yeah, what's your email address? Sweaty ball sack taint at gmail.com. And then he got one guy so good. He was like at a GNC, like nutrition center. And the guy asked him his email address, and he's like, do you shave down there? And the guy looked at him and he goes, what? And he goes, do you shave down there? And the guy goes, yeah, like sometimes at gmail.com. And the guy's like, oh, like totally suckered him right into that. It was like at gmail.com. At gmail.com.
Oh,
stupid. So stupid.
So I guess on all of this, we've had a bit of a discussion here about the Suicide Squad trailer and the bag of dicks joke. That was prevalent in the trailer. So
the
going
satchel
off
of Richards. The satchel of Richards, yes.
So where do you stand on that? I mean, yeah.
Okay, so here's I don't like John Cena's acting, but I digress. I don't hate John Cena. I'm a big wrestling fan. But John Cena, it's weird to me how John Cena has tried to keep this squeaky clean image for so long, refusing to turn heel, in wrestling, refusing to do anything that would like make the kids, paint anything bad for kids. And then like he got to Hollywood and it's like he's just gangbusters, just doing like every like inappropriate joke in every crazy thing that he could possibly do. I mean, like one of the first movies he was in was Trainwreck with what's her, and he's banging Amy Schumer and like wearing a towel around his dick. So you know, it's like
and he that was his first sex scene and he actually slipped it in. Apparently, he didn't realize.
What? I had not heard that.
I didn't know.
Look it up. She has no issues with it because it was John Cena. I met Bill Hader while he was here talking about it. And,
I love Bill Hader.
Yeah, he's fantastic. But yeah, that was interesting. But she's done interviews saying he didn't realize and he wasn't wearing the proper garment for the sex scene, and yeah, that was all real.
and apparently a full mask there.
Yeah, apparently. So
wow.
yeah, that's really funny. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like,
whoops.
So in terms of that particular joke,
you know, so Suicide Squad for me, like, look, you put Margot Robbie in anything, and I'm going to absolutely love her as Harley Quinn. I like the Birds of Prey movie. I make no bones about that. I think it's a good movie. It's not that it's not without flaws, but and I heard you guys like mentioning the vodka stream the other night with Robert Meyer Burnett.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, yeah. So I get that it's like there's you know, because like he's talked about that, you know, that you know, these movies they're not without flaws and they have issues and you know and stuff like that. But I think I'm a little worried because I hope that it's not just a joke a minute, because that trailer is. That trailer is just one joke right after the other.
Yeah.
You know, but even so, I'm okay with it because of the type of movie it is, because it's Suicide Squad. I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah.
And it's James Gunn, and I'll be honest with you, out of all the Marvel movies, Guardians of the Galaxy is by far my favorite. I love Guardians of the Galaxy, and so yeah, the bag of dicks jokes actually kind of makes me laugh because it kind of goes back to something that is personal for me, and this is going to be funny. So I play in a band, and my drummer, he's my best friend. And since he joined the band, we were just kind of acquaintances at first. And since he joined the band, we've had these jokes about penises and stuff like that. And he, like, one of the first things that he reminded me of, because he's quite a bit younger than me. He's like 13 years younger than me. But he's a great guy. And he came in and like he reminded me of a game we used to play in high school called the penis game, where it's like you walk up, somebody, yes, as you do, you know how it is. Yes,
yeah, explain to me the rules of this penis game.
So the rules of the penis game is you get into a room where you probably don't want to say penis very loud, and then somebody says the word penis at a reasonable level, and then if you hear that person say penis, somebody else has to say penis just a little bit louder. And the idea is you don't want to be the last person that's supposed to say penis, and it's going to be so loud that, you know, it'd be very embarrassing, yes, to say penis. And he has done this to me several times, like in just crazy places, man. He like we'll be ready to start a show, and like he'll like walk past me and stuff, like as I'm setting up my guitar rig or whatever, like doing something, like we're literally getting ready to start, and he'll just be like, "Hey Enosh, have a good show, penis." And I'm just like,
bastard.
He did it to me at mine and Tiffany's wedding.
Oh, no.
Yeah, actually, at the reception, he stood up at the reception to give a toast, and he goes through this whole thing, and then he goes, "And I want to wish Enosh and Tiffany all of the penis in the world." And the minister literally turned around and went, "Well, that was a weird inflection." So but the joke is like over the years we have bought him like all these penis related items, and one of the things that he used to laugh and that him and his friends growing up used to laugh and tell each other is to eat a bag of dicks. And so when I heard John Cena say the joke, I immediately just thought of my best friend and all of the funny things that have happened over the years and stuff. And so we literally bought him. I bought him a Mr. Potato Head that looks like a penis that just has, like little things that you put on a little face and stuff, like we bought him literally a bag of dicks once. We bought him like a candy bag full of dicks. And I mean, I bought that guy so many crazy penis stuff. We actually
a lot of dicks.
We were in Mexico and I found a flute shaped like a penis and balls. And we came back and you got to hold the flute. It's crazy. But so I know that there's some people like who are really upset about the bag of dicks joke, but it made me laugh because but if not for anything of that, but I hope that it's not just a joke a minute. I hope that we actually are able to get into it. And I feel
I don't think it'll be just jokes. I think there'll be a bit more heart to it. And
well, you look at the second trailer. You look at the second trailer, like the theatrical one, and it looked like there was way more to it than obviously what they did with the red band. But for me, I mean, that joke, we had a bit of a discussion here, and I just sort of said, like, I can't not laugh at that and be offended by that on one hand, but also piss myself laughing every time Archer says, "Eat a bag of dicks, Jungle," whenever he, watching Archer, it's that humor. You just have to go, all right, well, it either is your humor or it's not.
Yeah. And I sort of look at it too. It's like, I'm not like the wittiest guy, so someone might throw shit like chat at me, and I'll kind of just go, "Yep." So it's like, is it show? But what was the opening line? It's like, "Go eat a bag of dicks" or something. It's just like, what? Fuck it.
What was it like? What was it like? If
the beach was covered in them, I'd eat them all.
Eat them all.
Yeah, it's just like, I'll just lean into it because I got nothing.
Right. You know what it concerns me more for is that Peacemaker TV show, because I'm hoping that they're not going to just play John Cena's character for just being this kind of comic relief. That's kind of like, because I've heard that he's kind of like the Captain America of this group. So maybe he's a little. Honestly, I'm not super familiar with Peacemaker as a character. You know what I mean? Like, I know he exists and I've seen him, but like, I haven't read a lot of material with Peacemaker in it. So my guess is that they're probably playing him to be like the naive kind of, super patriotic, kind of guy, who's just, kind of like the Captain America fish out of water kind of thing, kind of awkward and stuff. But like, I hope they don't go so over the top with it that if they're doing this TV show, that like that show on HBO Max is just going to be filled with that, because I don't know that works long term.
So like, I guess going on the Suicide Squad, have you got any theories?
I'm going to have to kick it. Sorry. I've got to shoot, but Enosh, thanks so much for jumping on. It was lovely to meet you.
Absolutely, man.
Over the streams, and hopefully we'll be able to have you back at some point.
Absolutely.
And I'm hoping you'll be able to get some sleep over the next 24 hours. So
I will.
Take care,
Thanks,
guys.
John.
Love you all.
All right.
And we won't stay on for much longer anyway. But what I will say, I just wanted to ask on that is, do you have any theories? We know that James Gunn has been told he was allowed to kill everyone, including Margot Robbie. I don't think he's going to do it, but he has.
I really hope not.
Supposedly being given that. I'm in the camp of I don't care what happens, but if Boomer dies, I'm rioting because again, Australian representation. Captain Boomerang, Jack Courtney is fantastic in the first Suicide Squad, just drinking a beer in the middle of a fight. Very Australian. So yeah, where are you at?
Look, if I know this, if they killed Harley, it would disrupt our household. Because my wife is a huge Harley Quinn fan. One of my dogs is named Harley Quinn.
Yeah, right.
So that would not be a good look for our household. But I heard that too, and that kind of it frustrates me because you give James. I just asked a question. You give James Gunn all this leeway to do whatever the heck he wants to do, kill whoever he wants to kill, do whatever he wants to do in your canon, where like with one of your best characters from any of your movies, even, and yet you want to fight tooth and nail with Zack Snyder.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't get that. I especially after seeing the Snyder cut.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't make a lot at this point. We know it's ego related. It's not.
Oh yeah.
There's no logic to it. Why it should make sense, other than the fact that James Gunn has done well over there and has a supportive fan base who would release the Gunn cut if they were to say otherwise. But you're already in that fight. So yeah.
As far as any like theories or anything, I really don't have many for Suicide Squad. I'm just kind of going in just kind of to see like what they're doing. I mean, it's got Polka Dot Man in it, for God's sake. You know what I mean? Like
he's one I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it's a deep cut. You know, for DC, it's going to introduce people to. It's basically kind of what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy for the Guardians of the Galaxy for Marvel, in the fact that like I didn't know who the Guardians of the Galaxy even were before that movie, to be quite honest with you. Now I know that there's some hardcore Marvel fans who will see this and they'll go, "Oh, well, we knew who they were." Well, great. But I didn't, and he made me care about those characters. So anytime I hear somebody go Polka Dot Man, why is Polka Dot Man? But I mean, it's like, there's a lot of these DC characters that sound silly. I mean, Captain Boomerang, for example, but you don't really think about that because Captain Boomerang is a well-known Flash villain, and so like you don't really think about that with some of these characters. You just accept it, and then you hear something like Polka Dot Man, and you're like, "Oh, what's that silliness?" Well, watch it.
Exactly. Find out.
Yeah. Watch it. Find out.
I've been in the camp of saying that, like, at this point, Warner Brothers keeps announcing all of these series and things that are happening over the SnyderVerse, and it's looking like we're going to get a Condiment King TV series before we get anything more from the SnyderVerse. If Warner Brothers had their way, Condiment King would be getting a series, which they're very. They're all over.
It's frustrating, but I don't really have much in the way of predictions for it. My guess is somebody's going to die if they made such a big deal about that. That there will be people. I mean, what's his name died in the first one? Slipknot and El Diablo died in the first one. Slipknot died pretty quick
immediately.
And El Diablo, of course, in the air cut, it looks like El Diablo didn't die. So my concern, I mean, like for you guys, because I think Captain Boomerang is great, and I thought he was great in the first Suicide Squad movie.
I think he's gone. I'm very concerned. Look at the trailers. He's not with the A team. I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm just being honest with you. I know. I'm just being honest with you. I have kind of felt that way from the time that I heard that he was even cast again. Like I was like, okay. I mean, like they could pull a fast one and kill Rick Flag, which I will say this: I don't like the look of Rick Flag in this movie.
Yeah,
They've got him looking like some kind of like. I don't.
It's comic accurate, but I love Joel Kinnaman. I loved him in Altered Carbon. I loved him in Suicide Squad. I thought he was fantastic, and I liked what they did with the costume. So comic accurate, cool, but I'm the same. Like even down to his hair looks different. That's so
I'm glad that they brought back. I'm glad they brought back what's her name to be Amanda Waller.
Viola Davis for sure.
Davis, yeah.
For sure.
I think
that would have
that's
been
awesome.
the dumbest move they could have done. That would have been as bad as bringing someone else in to play Harley. Like she is. Yeah, I'm almost certain she has an Oscar. I'm like,
What's weird is it weird to you guys that it's like they keep bringing back all these people who are associated with Zack Snyder's universe, but yet they act like it's not going to continue?
Yeah, it is very weird.
Yep.
I feel like it's because they're going, well, we've got Justice League, so we can say that technically all that happened and then just ignore it going forward while keeping all the same characters. And yeah, I don't know.
But spoiler alert, guys. Justice League sucks. Like that 2017 Justice League sucks. I'm just warning you.
I think we were up to 96,000 dislikes on that 4K video from the other days.
Yeah, their Justice League sucks and makes no sense. So I guess if you use the backstory that you saw in the Snyder cut to fill in all of the awful plot holes, and I don't know, man. I don't know. So yeah, it's weird. It's weird, but you know, like I'm really interested to see what they do with Harley because of like where Harley's going to be at in this film as opposed to the last one. You know, I'm interested in that. I'm interested in I am interested to see if they man, I wish that they would utilize Captain Boomerang more and you know in this one.
Well, I'd like to have seen him and Flash properly have an interaction other than that one shot.
I know.
Yeah, you do have to wonder what I don't know. There's so much going on. I guess. Do you have any like what's your most anticipated of the real films? And when I say real films, I mean the ones that we actually know are getting made. You know, like your Black Adam and Shazam and Wonder Woman 3 and that sort of stuff. I'm very much looking forward to Black Adam. I'm
very much looking forward to Black Adam, and honestly, I'm very much looking forward to Shazam. I liked the first Shazam movie.
I did too.
If it hadn't have been for that stupid, you know, cut Superman's head off scene, you know, where it's like, you know, and obviously they couldn't, you know, make that work. I guess it was supposed to be Cavill, but they just couldn't make the thing work. So I get it. You know, I mean, they did what they had to do. I'm glad Superman was in it. It made sense that Superman was in it, you know, but I loved Shazam. I really liked Shazam. You know, there's people who, you know, who are diehard Snyder fans that, you know, want to hate on that movie. And it
fit the character for me. Like it was able to fit in the universe. David S. Sandberg wasn't necessarily told to fit it within the universe, and he did it. So I respect that. I think a lot of the people that I see just don't like Zach Levi because he joked about the Snyder Cut when he was asked about it. He's like, "No, it doesn't exist." Oh, actually, I'm really keen for it. No, I'm just kidding. Like that was a little dickish, but I've heard him on Rosenbaum's podcast as well, and it sounds like he's got a script every time he's asked about it. He's like saying the same things. It's like, you know, things didn't work, but now we're making them brighter, and we've worked it out, and now we're doing this, and it's just it feels like he's reading a script. So I don't necessarily have an issue because he wants to keep playing Shazam. So like, it's fine, and I think that's fair. I like him.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to Black Adam and obviously Shazam. I mean, and those two kind of go, you know, I mean, Black Adam's not in it yet, but eventually we're going to get there. So I'm looking forward to those two. You know, honestly, guys, I really want to be excited for the Flash movie. I really do. There's on paper, it looks so like it's right up my alley. I mean, Michael Keaton's coming back for God's sake, you know. You know, Ezra Miller is coming back, and Ben Affleck's coming back. And I keep saying this to people, and the people that I stream with a lot. I keep saying, you know, like I have a real hard time believing after everything that's happened that Ben would just come back, and even Ezra, to a large extent, would just come back to something that was just going to crap all over Zach's work. Like especially after Ben was so adamant, like, you know, like, and so excited to come back and just film what he filmed like on Zack Snyder's driveway. You know, like I'm just going to come back. I'm just going to film this thing and have fun doing it. I'm glad to do it. And I'm so happy to be suiting up again as Batman, you know, and just the positivity that he had about it. I have such, I don't believe, because Ben doesn't have to do this.
Yeah.
This is not a movie that Ben has to do. So either a couple of things, either they've got something really bad on him that you know, that like we don't know, or you know, I mean, as a joke, but you know, I mean that, or
I hope it's a beatdown of Jeff Jones,
right? Yeah, or that. Oh my gosh! Then release that cut.
Yeah, release that.
I'd love to watch that, man. Geez. Or you know, I mean, it could be. You know, I mean, Ben Affleck is a huge Batman fan. Okay, I mean, he's got a Bat cave in his house.
Yeah.
And if you're bringing back Michael Keaton to play Batman as well, that could be a selling point for it, you know, for him. So I don't know, but I just feel like he doesn't have to do this. And I don't think that he would just crap all over Zack's work after the closeness that they've all had, that the cast of this movie has had, and the united front that they've pretty much presented, you know, when it comes to Zack. So I just, yeah, I keep trying to remain positive, and I keep hoping that movie. Look, if nothing changes, and you know, Cyborg isn't in it, which he's probably not going to be at this point. I mean, it's already filming and stuff. You know, they're starting. You know, whatever. You know, so you know, miracles happen. You never know. There's always reshoots. There's always things that could happen, change between now and then. Who knows? But never say never. We got the Snyder cut. But if that's the case, no matter how good that movie is, I'm still going to go into it thinking about a lot of baggage that comes along with that movie. So as much as I want to love that movie, there's that, you know, and then, you know, like Wonder Woman 3, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little leery of at this point, because I feel like I don't know what Wonder Woman I'm going to get in a Wonder Woman 3. After what we saw, I mean, Wonder Woman 1 was great, and I loved it. I've loved her in Zack's movies. Wonder Woman 84, I liked it. It was fun. It was whatever, but it was just it felt like a different person.
Felt different. Yeah.
You know, so God only knows what Wonder Woman
like,
3 is going to be.
It felt like Jeff, and I feel like I don't think we're getting to the extreme of 84 if we're going to do 3. Like 3 feels to me like it's going to be set post Justice League, but then I think that fitting all 3 films in before Batman vs Superman is a smart move as well. So I don't know, but
you know, but like this BS of like Wonder Woman can't be a warrior.
Yeah, that was stupid. That was when we had a discussion. We've got a group chat with a lot of Aussies, and one guy was sort of saying, "You can't blame Patty. You can't blame Patty." And I said, "Did you read the quote? I don't blame Patty entirely, but she isn't fully against this with the quote. I didn't agree with that either, but
it's weird. All of DC stuff, like when it comes to that, is weird right now. It's just all weird. It's all kind of up in the air, man. You know, I'm a DC fan. Okay. I'm a DC fan, lifelong DC fan, will always be until the day that I die, man. You know, all day long, man, you know, but the state of DC is so strange. And I feel like it's because they keep trying to chase Marvel, and they just need to be themselves. And if every movie doesn't make $1 billion, then they just need to understand that it's a different beast and it's a different thing. And I don't want it to be just popcorn fluff. I don't want it to just be just a romp, you know, for, you know, an hour and a half, or, you know, a mandated 2 hours and done, you know, like I'm really loving this epicness of what we've had, this realness, you know, this grittiness. And I think that's what DC really is.
Yeah. It feels like it fits the characters a lot more. And I will have to agree. Like, I don't know. It just feels like it takes a bit of an emotional toll being a DC fan. And I've sort of felt that ever since like I didn't necessarily feel the hit on Man of Steel as much, but when Batman vs Superman came around, like I just assumed everybody loved Man of Steel, and then sort of wasn't until a while later that I was like, oh, it had mixed reviews. I don't understand how that's possible. But Batman vs Superman, it since then, we all know what it's like but it's taken an emotional toll, and the more that the company works against us, the harder it does seem to hit.
It is, man. And you're talking about going to see BVS Comes Home, right? And seeing that in the theater, oh my gosh. I mean, to see that the way it was supposed to be, Zack's vision for it, uncut like that at the theater, and enjoying that with other people who get it, who understood the movie, who had a good time with it. Oh, we good? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you okay.
Okay, just making sure. All right. But yeah, to be able to see all of that, together was just encouraging, because there are people out there who get it. And yeah, if the world's against us, then we just gotta, I guess that's the life of a DC fan,
I find it kind of funny as well, because it's like the League are fighting their own battles in their universe, and we, the fans, are almost fighting our own battles of justice. And Clue has bailed on us, so we're just running the stream solo.
There you go.
Well, that's cool. Back. But yeah, 100%, man. I totally agree with you. It's not an easy time to be a DC fan, but I just got to keep the fight going. And honestly, just before, when you were talking about, just the fights with DC and being a DC fan, like I like Marvel. Obviously, I'm more of a DC fan, and I remember I absolutely loved Infinity War and Endgame. But from watching the Snyder Cut over and over again, I associate like Infinity War, Endgame. They're like nostalgia is there. A Zack Snyder movie is like it just skyrockets. Just that level of nostalgia. Are we still live, by the way?
Yeah, it says we are.
That's really funny.
Yeah, he
must
have popped out there for a second. Yeah. No, I agree, man. Like, just even seeing that Marvel trailer that dropped yesterday, yesterday for us anyways. But we see you, Clue. No, watching that thing, I mean, like they do a really good job of getting a hold of the heartstrings of people, right? And they've earned what they have, right? They've earned what they have, but they also listen. They also listen to their fan base,
exactly,
and that's what that fan base wants is that type of entertainment, and that there's nothing wrong with that. But as for DC, I just wish that they would. I wish that they would listen to us,
exactly,
and find a happy medium. It doesn't all have to just be Zack Snyder stuff. It doesn't have to just be this, lighter fare. It can all be there together, and I think that they would. I think that they could win over the fans. And have that happy medium if they were willing to budge. But like you guys said, I mean, I think it's an ego thing, I will say this. I know I heard you guys talking earlier, about Robert Meyer Burnett and some of his comments and stuff like that about whether it'll happen or not or whatever. I think we have to remember we've been told for 4 years that the Snyder Cut didn't even exist.
Yep.
Right.
For sure.
And mocked by many voices, the people who are in the know, right? The people who all know. And I'm not saying this about Robert, because I've had Robert on my channel a couple of times, and I think Robert is excellent. Robert obviously is a wealth of knowledge, and I get what he's saying. This is what I would say to fans who want to see the SnyderVerse restored. I believe that we will see some form of the SnyderVerse restored. Now, whether that means it's not going to be a Warner Brothers. It's not going to be a movie. I can just tell you that it's not going to be that. We're not going to go to the theater and see, the continuation of Zack Snyder's, Justice League 2 and 3. It's not going to be that. We're going to have to get used to the fact that it's going to be presented in a different form. and it could be a great deal many things. It could be, it could be in television series on HBO Max, limited series. It could be, it could be animation, for God's sake. It could be a comic book, it could be something even that's live action, but maybe not directed by Zack himself. Maybe just produced by Zack, because Zack is getting busy. Zack is, he's gearing up with Army of the Dead. He's got that franchise building up and everything. And
Force Latitudes as well.
Yeah. So, so, and like you said, some of these, Gal Gadot is pregnant right now, so she's not going to just come back and film Wonder Woman. That's what I keep telling everybody who's like, well, it's been a month and we haven't heard anything. It's only a month. Right? Like there's still plenty of time for stuff to happen. But be patient. I see a lot of people getting very, very upset. Like they're losing their cool. Don't lose your cool. Obviously state what you want and what you love, but be respectful about it. And don't just be rude about it. Don't lose your cool. Because when you lose your cool, you start making bad decisions. And I've seen, I haven't seen the fandom making bad decisions, but I've seen individuals making bad choices sometimes in how they handle things and how they present themselves representing the fandom. And I know that we're all better than this, as a fandom. We've accomplished great things, like I said earlier, and don't lose hope or heart just because it's been a month and we haven't heard anything. Remember, we're still dealing with the same people here, the same people who told us for 4 years it didn't even exist, right? They're not going to come out and just give you everything that you want and give you hope. If you're waiting for Warner Brothers to give you hope that the SnyderVerse is going to come back, you're going to be waiting the rest of your life. It's just not going to happen. So that's why we got to look to each other and encourage each other, with this thing. And, I have a lot of faith that that good stuff can still happen and that the SnyderVerse can still continue or at least exist in some form, at some point. But never lose hope. And like I said again,
I think it's a lot of
even if you don't see it, remember what we've accomplished.
We keep having conversations like this. We keep having conversations like this. We keep building up the community, and I think we've seen a natural growth in the community since the film came out. So it's only going to continue, and if we stay strong, it'll keep growing. And it's fantastic. And as I said, as we discussed before, for us to be having a conversation with yourself, for us, this podcast, no one's ever met. We've just formed this just based on Australian fans, and noticed that there wasn't really any Australians that we followed that were talking about it. It's very much like that. It's all the community, and we've just got to continue building that up. And that's exactly right. We've got a comment here, which
well said.
He'll be here, Alfred. I know it.
What makes you so sure?
Faith, Alfred. Faith.
So good.
I do love that button.
Perfect.
So good. But look, I just wanted to say, Enosh, thanks for coming on. It's been awesome to chat. We're gonna end it up here, and we'd love to have you on again at some point. So we'll keep in touch. And for those following, if you don't watch Poindexter Lounge, as I've stated on here, I do sit around and it keeps me entertained while I'm at work. Get on and check him out.
Me
too. We don't do a lot here in Australia, apparently.
just avoid the poisonous snakes and the spiders and watch Poindexter Lounge. There you go.
Exactly. And there's your tourism.
That feels like a t-shirt to me. That feels like a t-shirt to me. Avoid poisonous snakes and spiders and watch Poindexter Lounge. I like it.
You already know.
You already know.
We'll take a cut of the merch. You already know. I love it. Well,
Too
thanks
good,
again, man.
too
We'll
good.
end it there. Thanks for everyone for checking in. And yes, follow Poindexter Lounge and we'll go from there.
All right.
I've been ready from the jump. Tell me anything, but never tell me that I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm on. You can bet I've been above. You can never see me like I'm John Cena on the song. Yeah, we kicking in the whip, boy, then vroom vroom. Invisible like Bitcoin, but all around we taking over the world. I'm making home with the girl, head to tail like a flip coin. You can take it how you want. I've been up having fun. Yeah, baby, this ain't a disjoint. I ain't famous, I'm a boss. I've been up.